Hello there, everybody. Today I'm going to teach you a whole bunch of things, so you look and listen closely. Okay, here goes.
Most research on children's media measures how well a show can teach a concept to a child, usually by having a child take a standardized test, watch the show, and then come back and take the standardized test again. While these studies can measure how effective a show is at teaching, they usually aren't concerned with how a show does that teaching. There isn't very much research on how shows in general teach people. As media analysis becomes more commonplace within the public discourse, it's important to understand exactly how shows teach people so that conversations about what the shows are teaching isn't muddled. For the purposes of this video, we're going to skip over discussing how communication models and communication theories work. There are plenty of complexities in talking about media in this way, especially considering that one person watching a show can get something completely different than a different person watching a show. With that aside, we can basically break down every form of teaching that you see on television into 4 different categories: memorization, methodological, mentorship, and moral model. We'll go through each of these methods from the least complicated to the most complicated. We'll also give examples of each of the methods as they appear in television shows so that you can be able to recognize each of these methods when they show up in shows that you are watching.
My father would help me remember the sequence of the color spectrum by telling me the story of a magical elf named Roy G. Biv. He even wrote a song about it. And the name of the song is Roy G. Biv.
Arguably one of the first methods and one of the easiest to study, shows that use memorization simply give their audience information and ask them to memorize it. Shows that use memorization often put the information in mnemonic devices or catchy songs, but this isn't always the case.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union.
Gravity between dust particles in space made all the planets end up going around the sun in the same direction. They're revolving around the sun, counterclockwise.
Johnson, were you trying to be amusing?
No. Yeah, maybe. But I also don't know what the word amuse means.
Oh, something is amusing when it's entertaining or fun in some way. For example, riding in a speeding log and splashing down at the bottom of an exciting water ride will definitely be amusing, if we ever get there.
Oh, got it.
I don't get Matt and Inez's way of solving the problem you gave us.
What will make it easier for you?
I don't know. Maybe if 5 dragons instead of 15.
Near the end, there might only be 5 dragons left.
But if I start at the end of the game, I'd be working backwards.
Is that a bad thing?
While you can memorize timetables, you can't memorize the solution to every single multiplication problem. Methodological shows, instead of teaching specific information, teach techniques or methods to their audience that they can use in all sorts of situations.
Now, if you want to multiply 2 times 174, or some big number like that, 2 times 174 equals 2 times 100 plus 2 times 70 plus 2 times 4. That's all. So 2 times 174 equals 200 plus 140 plus 8 are 348. It's elementary.
And go. How does the pie chart help us? It can help us organize the data so we can see what most people want. Think of this chart as a whole pie, cut into 3 slices of different sizes. The larger the slice, the more people voted for that food.
Look how long it is. I can't read it. I can't.
Yes, you can. Now, take a deep breath. Start on the left and take it one part of the word at a time. Good. Now, put the parts together.
Okay. Impressive. Impressive. Impressive.
Impressive. That's right. You got it.
I'm just so proud of all of you who have grown up with us. And I know how tough it is some days to look with hope and confidence on the months and years ahead. But I would like to tell you what I often told you when you were much younger. I like you just the way you are.
The methodological and memorization methods work great for science, reading, and math, but it's harder to memorize things for social skills. The mentorship method works by having an authority figure speak to the audience directly or to a character that is a stand-in for the audience.
Don't judge your story. You've just started it.
I know, but circles and triangles? Who's gonna like that?
You never know. You can't assume your audience are all squares. Okay, scrap that joke. Bit before your time. Anyway, trust your heart. Trust your story.
I think you are just fine as you are. I really must tell you, I do like the person that you are becoming. When you are sleeping, when you are waking, you're not a fake, you're no mistake. You are my friend.
People tend to listen to ideas that support the way they think, and they ignore ideas that question what they think.
So whether it's believing in lucky pennies or believing that boys can do more than girls can, it's called confirmation bias. 2, 3.
So when you cling to things that support your view, but reject the things that never do, you've got it, you can't deny it. Confirmation bias.
Well, I'm glad we worked that out. Sharing your favorite stuff can be really hard, but if you can do it, you can have a lot more fun and play a lot more games with your friends. Sharing. It's what you do with a friend.
So he's calling you a terrible name. And you know that if you punch him out, it'll just confirm all the bad stuff he thinks about you.
Yes. You know what it feels like to be judged simply because of how you look?
Of course I do. I'm part robot.
The final category is also the broadest and most prevalent form of teaching in children's media. The moral model method takes characters within the television show and has them interact with each other in a very specific kind of way. The intended goal is for the audience to see these characters and either learn from the mistakes that they make, see them as role models that they should emulate, or see them as people that they should avoid being like.
I'm sorry, it was supposed to be fun. No one on the show ever bleeded or got stitches.
That's because it's just a dumb show. You're not supposed to do what they do. It's not real.
Oh. The food was just going to be thrown away, so I helped Ellie bring the food down to the food bank.
I'm sorry if my son violated any rules, but I support his effort.
I knew you'd be here, Charlie.
What do you mean, Jetta?
I told Emily Elizabeth you were never going to teach her how to fish.
I am too going to teach her. Just not today.
Or yesterday, or the day before that.
Wow. I guess I kind of let Emily down, didn't I?
I guess so.
Well, I'm going to go and fix that right now.
So, cutting corners would be a bad idea?
Terrible. Oh. Gee, that's exactly what I did. With these spells, I was so impatient. That's why I can't do the more complicated spells. I'm sorry, Haley, but don't worry. I'm gonna start from spell number 1 and learn them all, one at a time. Just like I was supposed to do.
That's a great idea, Preston.
Dear Sue Ellen, I'm sorry I upset you. I didn't mean to. It was really just a joke. I thought you could take a joke, but I guess I was wrong. I've been teased before about wearing glasses.
But I never felt I had to tell the teacher about it and get someone else in trouble. Maybe you're just overreacting?
It goes on like that for the whole page.
He isn't sorry at all.
These categories aren't mutually exclusive and overlap constantly.
Why don't you say what your feeling is?
Well, I'm frustrated that Dee Dee betrayed me.
Maybe you want to forgive Dee Dee?
I don't know how. It hurts.
You can't stop things from hurting you, Philip, but you get to decide what to do with that hurt.
They also could be further divided into smaller subcategories. You could differentiate between shows asking the audience to memorize broad information versus memorizing very specific information. Show writers have specific themes and messages that they want to put into their show, but other messages can come through unintentionally, for better and for worse. Understanding the difference between intentional messaging and unintentional messaging would help clear up some of the conversations that are happening around children's media especially. And these categorizations aren't perfect either. It's quite possible that somebody has a better idea, or there's something that I missed. There's a whole world of possibilities. There's a whole world of possibilities out there.
I did it.